Hi folks, this isn't a lesson related video, this is just something I thought you might find interesting, especially if you're interested in biology or just science in general. In the last week or so I've received something in the post asking me to take part in some research. They're starting to roll out the first kind of trial of an at-home coronavirus antibody test. So that means that you get this test in the post. I'm going to walk you through it in this video, and it will let you know possibly whether or not you've had coronavirus in the past. I'm particularly interested in this personally because, as some of you know, my other half works for the NHS, and as part of that he's had a coronavirus antibody test which came back positive, which suggests that at some point in the past he has had coronavirus. We were both quite surprised by this because neither of us have had any symptoms, let alone any of the more significant symptoms. And given that he's had it, and we live in the same place, and it would be very surprising if I hadn't had it. But similarly, I've not had any symptoms either. These tests aren't perfect. They can sometimes give what's called a false positive or a false negative, meaning that it tells you you've had coronavirus, or it detects antibodies when you've not got them, or it doesn't detect antibodies when you do have them. So I'm quite interested to see the results for me. It uses what's called a finger prick test. Some of you might have had one of these in the past. It gives you all the kit that you need in order to do it at home, which, as I say, is pretty cool. In order to do a test for antibodies in your blood, you need to get some of your blood. And doing that at home, if they sent you a hypodermic needle and things like that, might be a bit dangerous. So instead, they use, as I said, what's called a finger prick test, which uses one of these, which you might be able to see. This is called a lancet. It is a tiny little needle protected in a little packet, and all it does is it's designed to just stab you once in the finger. As soon as it's stabbed you, it gets the needle disappears inside the packet to protect other people from the needle, to protect them from your blood, because if you are ill, you don't want droplets of your blood floating around the place. And what I'm going to do is put the droplet of blood into this device here. This thing and this whole process uses something that in year 7 you did called chromatography. It's a very, very similar idea to chromatography. Let's see if we can get that off. Okay, so I've just pulled apart the lancet. This kind of protection lid comes off, and you can't even see the needle. It's hidden inside there, so it's completely protected. All it does is go into your finger once, and all I need to do, if I make a noise here, I'm sorry, I might cut it out. You just stab it into your finger in order to produce a drop of blood, and all I do is that. Ow. And you can see that the needle's disappeared. It's gone inside the packet to protect it, and my finger just about, you can see it's now bleeding. And all I need to do is squeeze that drop of blood until it's a nice big drop, and drop it into this device. There we go. Okay, so it has now got a little drop of my blood in it. So yes, as I was saying about chromatography, we looked at chromatography in year 7, and it was all very pretty. Maybe we made some nice pictures, and we learned that a little about solubility in the process. But a similar idea is used by this process. The coronavirus antibodies will react with certain chemicals in a specific way. So this device has got a bunch of different chemicals up here at the top soaked into some kind of paper, and it's designed so that they will react with the antibodies. So the blood is there soaked into the piece of paper, and I've got this buffer solution which is just going to draw the specific parts of my blood out so that it can be detected by these chemicals. And it takes quite a while, so I will pause it and let this process happen, and then you can see the results with me together. Okay, the test is complete. This is what the completed test looks like. So the very dark red spot is where I put the blood on. This is where I put what's called the buffer solution on, and these are the results. So it's quite difficult to see on the camera up close, but there's a possibility for 3 separate lines in this top part. The top line, the fact that that's gone red, according to my instructions, says that the test has been effective, so it's worked. The 2 lines underneath, if I had some coronavirus antibodies, there would be 2 lines there, but there aren't any. So if the top line had gone blue, that would mean that the test hadn't worked. So according to that test, I don't have any coronavirus antibodies in me, which suggests that I've not been exposed to it. And that's quite a surprising result, because, as I said, my other half, his test came back positive, and to have been in such close quarters with someone for such a long time, there's not a period in the last 6 months where he's been away for 2 weeks or anything like that, where he might have got the virus and got over it and not exposed me to it. To have been in such close quarters for such a long time and not passed it over seems quite surprising. So, as I say, throughout the instructions there's an awful lot of probability-like language saying may or may not work, may get a false positive, may get a false negative. So it does kind of suggest that either his test or my test isn't correct. Anecdotally, I know a few people who have had these tests, and they've had a couple of tests in a short space of time, and they've quite often disagreed with each other. So the reason that they're doing this research is possibly trying to improve their tests, trying to come up with a testing method which delivers more certain, more concrete results each time, rather than having lots of false positives which might get people worried, or false negatives which might make people feel overly relaxed. So anyway, yeah, I hope you enjoyed that.